Right, Donal, have you any opening thoughts on the relationship between alcohol and sports?
Yeah, Sean. Well, we live in a society that has a dominant culture of alcohol, and we live also in a country that is very proud of its sporting tradition. And the two are obviously intertwined. It's very rarely a celebration of a sporting competition that doesn't entail alcohol. Um, and while it's not necessarily the best way to celebrate a sporting victory, it can have its benefits, but there must also be a respect of the level of consumption and attitudes, and that must filter from the top down, from a sporting organisation's point of view.
And do you think this has changed much over the years?
Definitely. When you look back to the 70s and 80s, there was gay abandon with how players, management, and even committee members treated, we'll say, alcohol and its use and abuse at sporting venues, in sports clubs. We saw with the promotion of the Guinness Hurling Championship a number of years ago that Diageo were only too happy to sponsor such a high profile tournament like the championship, but in hindsight there was negative connotations, and that's why the GAA were encouraged to discontinue with their sponsorship.
Yeah. And how important do you think alcohol is then to the social side of sport?
There is a link, and you can't deny it. You can't enforce alcohol bans on people, because most of the time you're dealing with people from the age of 16 up to the age of 35, and if you try and impose a ban on alcohol on that age bracket, then you're just going to create a subculture, which in its own way is just going to create further problems down the road. There's plenty of anecdotal stories of players who in the past didn't enjoy a beverage during their playing careers, and later in life became alcoholics. Was this something to do with their training and the influence of trainers? Possibly, but I think nowadays the conditioning of players is at such a high level that they see the toxic toxic problem that alcohol has, and the effect that it'll have on a peak performance of players.
Very good. And have you any stories yourself on how people you know or yourself that affected people's performance? And do you think it would be fair to say that any player who drinks should not get to play sports?
From a personal point of view, I do a bit of long distance running, and I only took that up in my mid-20s. It was a bit of a reaction to guilty conscience more than anything else. In my early 20s, I used to enjoy a good social life, and I recognised that this couldn't continue. I was looking around at my social group, and I recognised that if this kept going, this was going to create problems for me long term. So I decided that I would just buy a pair of runners and just get out there and go maybe once a week, just to sweat out the booze, as they say. And it has grown steadily down to the years, and I found myself enjoying a running lifestyle. I've completed a few marathons, duathlons, half marathons, and it's somewhere I never would have seen myself in my early to mid 20s. If anyone had said to me I'd be doing my 9th marathon this October, I would have laughed at them. And I also, as a result of taking up the running, alcohol and running don't go hand in hand. You just can't perform at a level that you'd like to perform if you're going to keep sustaining a social life. So I've just discovered, maybe it's a maturity thing also, that there's more to life than just going out getting drunk on a weekend basis and suffering for 3 days.